Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome in. If you're coming back, I'm so glad to have you. Let's talk about things that you thought when you were going into nursing that have changed since you became a nurse or since you became a CNA or any realm of healthcare that you want. I'm going to focus on nursing, but if you are interested in contributing to the conversation, I would love it if you comment in the comments and I'll comment back. If you like what you see here, then like, subscribe, and follow for more. Let's get into it. I had a lot of ideas about what nursing would be when I went into nursing. And these are some things that I have learned as a nurse that have changed since I first got into nursing. When I was a CNA, I think I thought initially that when I became a nurse, I would not have to do CNA work anymore. That is false. So if you're a nurse and you're going into nursing brand new, or if you're a CNA and you're considering going into nursing, I want you to know that you will still be providing personal cares as a nurse. And honestly, that's okay with me. It's just something that I didn't realize that nurses still did. I have seen very few nurses in my young career as a CNA that actually were on the floor providing personal care. Now, as I have gone through my nursing profession, through my career, I have provided personal care many times. Is that something that I do all the time or have the time to do the way the CNAs do it? No. Is it expected of me? Absolutely. It is expected of nurses to put people on the toilet, to clean them if they find them soiled, to help transfer them if they need to go to the restroom. Sometimes in home care, you might be providing a bath or a shower for a patient. It's not common, but it can happen. As a nurse, you still have those skills and you're still expected to utilize those skills. So that's something that I thought as a CNA that turned out to be false. I thought if I got my bachelor's degree that I would have different opportunities than as a nurse with my associate degree. That is not true. That being said, I still wish to further my education and get my highest degree of education and continue on with my education. But what I have seen is that there are people with master's degrees doing the exact same job that I'm doing with an associate's degree. I'm very close to my bachelor's degree, Lord willing. I'm almost finished with that. But I recommend that you have it. I think it's beneficial if you want to get into management or if you want to get into administration. Having your master's degree is very beneficial and necessary in those areas. However, people do count your nursing experience. So if you've been a nurse for many years and you want to do a higher level position and you have the experience and the ability to do it, they will hire you without those degrees. Is pay better if you have a bachelor's degree versus a master's degree versus an associate's degree in nursing? Depends on what the job is, but generally I haven't seen a big pay difference for us. I think we cap out at a certain range as nurses, unfortunately. But I think if you want to get your education and you desire to further your career, you should absolutely do that. I would never discourage you from getting your education because for me, education is important and I want to go as far as I can go for as long as I can go. I have goals to achieve and I'm not going to stop seeking them and reaching for them as long as it's possible for me to do so. And I encourage you to do so always, but don't feel like you're less than based upon your degree level. We are all co-workers. We're all colleagues. Some of us have higher levels of education, but we're all here to get the job done. And I will tell you that I've worked with bachelor's level degree nurses who had a really big chip on their shoulder for associate's degree RNs. And I've been going through my bachelor's degree and really the only thing that it helped me with was management type stuff. So I would encourage you to further your education for your own self if that's what you want to do. And in some cases it can further your career, and in some cases they do want you to have a bachelor's degree to do certain jobs. But I will tell you that there are a lot of jobs you can do without a bachelor's degree. That's all I will say on that. What's another thing that I had an idea about as a nurse? I think that I thought I would be doing more IVs than I did in long-term care. I worked in skilled nursing and I think I thought I would do more IVs than I ended up doing. It's really a skill that not everybody has. I'm not a great stick. I will admit that. I do get it. Probably 75% of the time, but I think that people who do it more frequently are just better at it than me. I don't have the same level of experience of putting in an IV as a person in the ER or an ICU where they're constantly having to change those sites and dealing with those kinds of medications. Now in skilled care nursing, we do actually use IV medications. We do start IVs, we do draw blood. As nurses, as registered nurses, I have, done blood draws. I have started IVs. I have hung IV medications, and hanging IVs is not as uncommon in a skilled nursing facility. It's very common. We give a lot of IV antibiotics and fluids and things like that. But I worked in geriatrics, and getting a line in those folks is challenging at best sometimes because of disease processes, advanced age, and hydration. And sometimes even the best stick isn't going to get it in, and that's when you call someone to put a pick in. We have IV nurses that are really skilled at that, who have better equipment than we have in a skilled nursing facility. Wouldn't it be lovely if skilled nursing facilities had ultrasound machines that would show us the veins? That would be something. Hopefully, as technology advances, that's something that becomes available as skilled nursing folks, because skilled nurses do a lot of stuff that I think used to only be considered something that would be done on a med-surg floor or in the hospital. I think I didn't realize how sick people were in skilled care nursing. I worked in many nursing homes as a CNA, and I think that the level of care that was provided back when I started in this in the 90s is much different than it is now in the late 2000s. In the late 2000s and in the mid 2020s, okay? From the 1990s to the 2020s, it's come a long way, healthcare, and what is expected of like a long-term care facility and a skilled nursing facility. I know that there were respiratory units in facilities when I first became a nurse 20-something years ago, but I think that we're taking patients with more complex needs in long-term care, and that broaches the subject of the shortage in healthcare workers to provide those cares. The level of care that you have to provide and the skills that you need to be proficient in have increased. You have people that are sicker, and on top of that, in skilled nursing and in rehab, we used to see a lot of elderly folks with hip fractures, knee replacements. They were there for rehab and they were there to go home, but we're seeing people that are sicker. We're getting fresh trachs. We're getting people fresh out of heart surgery, open heart surgery. We're getting people, with really complex wounds and needs, and we're expected to manage those needs on top of the basic needs of our long-term patients. A lot of facilities have your skilled Medicare patients mixed into the regular patients, your long-term care patients, and that can be a challenge to manage those needs. It's high acuity, it really is. And on top of that, we're not just seeing elderly folks. No, we're getting homeless people sometimes, and we're getting people that are addicted to drugs, and we're getting sometimes psychiatric patients in long-term care. And those are all valid reasons for why I decided that it was not the place for me anymore in the current way that things are going in nursing. I don't want to say something disparaging, because I love long-term care and I wish I could have continued it and probably would have for life if it wasn't something that I felt was going to risk my license that I worked so hard for. I want to provide good care to my patients. I want to make sure that I am meeting their needs and not missing things that are critical. If you have so many patients that you're caring for, it is very possible for you to miss something very critical, because you have a lot of voices asking you for things and a lot of expectations of you. And the documentation that's required of nursing, it's extensive. It's extensive. When you see a nurse sitting at the nurse station, understand she's not sitting there because she's lazy or because she wants to. It's an expectation that we get all of those meds down people, that we give them all of their injections, that we hang all of their IVs, that we assess them from head to toe, that we get their vital signs, that we document that we did all of those things. And if anything crazy happened on the shift, we also need to be capturing that. If somebody fell, we also need to make sure that we're calling all the right people that we need to call. There's a lot of bureaucracy in nursing. There's a lot of expectations. Nursing isn't just at the bedside, unfortunately, and that is the challenge of nursing. What I would love to see is something that helped nurses with their charting, with the charting that they did. I have a doctor who comes into IDG and he will dictate his notes as he goes and does his charting right there in the meeting. He doesn't do it after, he gets it done right then and there. And I'm sure with all the AI that we do have, there's got to be something that we can do to beef up our ability to chart as we go and chart at the bedside. There's got to be something that we can do to meet those Medicare guidelines and also spend more time with our patients and get the things done that we need to get done. Or what will happen is a nurse is spending more time with her patient and missing those critical charting needs. If we didn't chart it, it didn't happen. And if we didn't chart it, we can get called into a court of law and questioned as to why we did it. And I don't know about you, but I probably don't remember everything in detail that I did 7 years ago. Do you? So charting is a really critical piece of nursing. I think that's something that I didn't understand when I became a nurse. I think it's something that they beat into your head in nursing school, but it's not something that you understand until you hear about it from somebody who's actually been deposed in a court case. It's not something that I want ever as a nurse to be called into a court case. I am very concerned about what I do as a nurse, and I want it to be excellent, and that is why I got out of long-term care, because I didn't feel I could provide that excellent care safely anymore. Another thing that has changed is the medications and the treatments that we use. My ideas about medications were probably different when I started as a nurse. I don't think I realized how many pills people take in a day. People take a lot of medication as they get older, and I will tell you something that has changed in my ideology is that less pills equal a longer life. I will tell you that I've seen time and time again a person that has been on 20 medications. We decrease their medications to say like 5 essential medications that they probably need to survive, and boom, they get better. Or suddenly you stop all of those medications that they've been taking for 30 years and they live for 5 more years. And I'm talking about 90-year-old people, okay? That's something that I didn't know when I was younger and when I started in this, that those medications could be harmful. Now, I am a Western medicine nurse and I do support Western medicine. However, something that has changed as a nurse that I believed, that I have changed my beliefs in, is that I do believe that homeopathic, naturopathic medication and more natural things for patients and things that herbs, oils, I believe those things do have benefit to patients because I've seen it. And I know people who live a natural life and they don't want those chemicals in their body and they're pretty healthy. I will not get on this high horse, but the chemicals that we put into our body in this country are pretty damaging to us in the long run if you think about the data from other countries in cancer statistics. So that's not my scene, that's not my base level of knowledge. It's just something that I have seen over time and an opinion. In fact, everything that I say here is an opinion. So just know that I am not a doctor. I'm not a medical expert. I'm just sharing my experiences with you and hoping for you to share your experiences with me. So if you like what you see here and you have more to contribute to the conversation, I'd love to talk about it in the comments. And I would ask that you like, subscribe, and follow for more. And if you have any ideas or things that you would like to discuss or know more about, please feel free to reach out to me and I will do my best to answer you back. Thank you for watching and I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.